Hello, hello. All right. There we go. We're doing it. We're doing it. Music fade. Music out. All right. Bonus points if you can guess where I am right now, where I'm floating around in space. More so, do you know what this is right here? All right. Got a few questions to answer here on this lovely Wednesday night. It's late, but man, I just love talking to a camera to all of y'all and answering questions. So that's what I'm going to do. First one. What is the difference between marketing that attracts tire kickers and ready buyers? So the difference between marketing that attracts tire kickers, people that aren't really serious, and people that are actually ready to buy, that have intent to want to take some action with you, has to do with talking to the people that are in the right state of mind, really. So the people that we want to talk to, the ones that are going to buy, are the ones that they're already looking for the solution right now. They're the ones that are thinking, okay, I need help with something. Now, who is going to be the one to help me? I need to connect better with my team, and I need to get them being more productive and doing more of the things that I need them to do, or our company is going to go under. And I've been trying these other things. I've hired other executive coaches. I've worked on my mindset. I've worked on my anger management issues, and none of that stuff has been working. Now I really need some coach that's going to help me. So this kind of state of person, this is somebody who is solution aware, who's actively looking for the next thing that's going to help them. Now that's opposed to the people who are just interested, ones that they'll see, oh, here's a workshop about being a better leader. That sounds interesting. I think that that's something that I'll go for, something I'll get on this masterclass and see. And that's the difference between people that are gonna join and not convert, and the people that are going to join and convert and buy from you and work from you. So the way that we attract those people, it all has to do with the language that we're using, namely in the hooks that we're using in our content and in our ads. So a hook that gets just interested people is something that says, hey, do you want to be a better leader so that your team becomes more productive? Join this masterclass. Versus a hook that says, hey, did you hire an executive coach to come in and all they did was drop you some a DISC assessment, and then you forgot about it a month later, and now it's just sitting there doing nothing? Hey, have you worked on your mindset for the past month to finally motivate yourself to be more productive, but that mindset training is getting you nowhere? So it's this state of mind, the state of a person who is active and they're trying things. When we're using hooks that speak to those types of people, that's how we get solution-aware prospects who are ready to buy, who are actually going to convert with you. Okay. So it comes down to the hooks. Next question. What is the biggest lie being sold about finding your niche? So the biggest lie being sold about finding your niche is really that you're going to be pigeonholed. You know, people think that when they're finding their niche, when they have to niche down because they want to make sales, and all these marketers are saying, hey, you got to niche, you got to go after a certain market, you got to be narrow. That really freaks a lot of people out, because they think, I don't want to just be known as that as the person who helps that one type of person and does that one type of thing. Like, that's not my brand, that's not me, that's not authentic. I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to do that. Well, that's really not true. When you're niching down, you're not saying you're just one person doing one thing for one person. What we're simply saying, what you simply need to do is just think, hey, let's pick a market, let's pick a top of mind problem, and let's run a campaign to get that person buying from us. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of your brand. It's not just being that one person. It's, hey, you know what would be a smart thing to do? How about we just pick a market, Maybe a person in a specific kind of situation, someone who wants to go and get to the C-suite, someone who wants to improve their team's performance. So we're going to speak to leaders. We're going to speak to an executive. We're going to speak to a sales team leader. We're going to speak to a person, and let's think, what's the most top of mind thing? What's something that's going to help them a lot right now? What's a message we can give to that person? And then let's promote that message, and let's get them onto a masterclass with us. Let's get them booking a call. Let's get them buying some low ticket product with us. And let's create a funnel, and let's get them doing that. Let's try that. Doesn't that sound nice? So it's not this do all end all thing. It's just let's create a compelling message that can show how we're different and better than competition, and just get people buying. Because the biggest mistake people are making, coaches and consultants and marketers, marketing is making, is trying to be broad in the name of authenticity, being broad in the name of, I don't want a niche, but it's if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. There's so much noise. If you're not being specific, you're not going to break through. You're not going to be able to show how you're different. You're not going to be able to show a different process. You're not going to be able to paint the picture, show the journey for anyone. So let's move from, hey, I don't want to be pigeonholed and for the rest of my life and the rest of my career, and I got to be afraid of my friends on LinkedIn and people that used to know me from my company, and now I'm a coach and I'm got to be afraid of them seeing me as this person who's just pigeonholed doing this one thing for this one person, and go from, hey, let's pick a market, let's pick a problem, let's create a funnel, let's get some people reaching out, let's get some people talking to us, and get them buying from us. And then if it works, great, let's do it again. Maybe let's do it a little bit different. Let's vary it up a little bit. If it doesn't work, hey, we can go back to what we were doing. Couldn't be worse than that, could it? Couldn't be worse than just putting out a bunch of random broad content and attracting no one, right? Right. Okay. Man, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I'm scoring goals right now. I'm making shots. I'm kicking the corner and running in front of the goal and headbutting it at the same time. That's what I'm doing right now. All right. Why do most people's funnels fail even when they're following proven templates? You know, following proven marketing templates is often the worst idea. Let's say this again. Following proven marketing templates is oftentimes the worst thing that you can do. Following a template in marketing is it's the same thing as when you're skiing and you're going through the trees a little bit and it's a nice powder day and you see some tracks going through the trees and you think, let's follow this person's tracks. Let's see what they're going. Maybe they know where they're going. And then you follow those tracks and it leads you to a cliff. And then you're cliffed out. And you know what? That person's tracks that you were following, they were a professional. They love hucking 50-foot cliffs. They do it all day, but not you. But you followed those tracks thinking it was going to lead you the right way, but really you were following this professional. That's what it's like to follow a template for a funnel. That's what people do when they say, oh, look, Tony Robbins, look at the funnel he made. Let's do it just like Tony. Let's do a let's do a massive live stream like Tony, and let's use the same kind of copy style that he uses and follow the same exact structure that he does on his landing pages to get people to sign up. Let's do it like that. But you can't do that because you're not Tony. You shouldn't do things the same way that other marketers are doing. You have to do it based on your market's level of sophistication, and really your level of sophistication. So there's two things you got to think about when it comes to creating the right kind of funnel for you and avoiding this trap of using marketing templated funnels that really don't work because they're not made for you. So the first one is thinking about the sophistication of your market. So if you're a coach consultant, there's tons and tons of coaches and consultants out there. So since there's so many options, we need a kind of funnel, a kind of conversion event that is going to build trust with somebody, that's going to get someone in front of you so they can really get a feel for you and they can see how you can help and how you're different. And especially when it comes to talking to leaders and executives, they need that kind of contact. We need some kind of trust built there. Now, but say we're in a market where people don't really know what it is that you're doing or what you're solving. Say there's like this brand new disease out there. Let's call it gum disease. Let's say there's this new thing called gum disease that's out there. If you try to run some kind of masterclass for how to prevent gum disease, people are going to think, well, what the hell? Why do I need to go on a masterclass? Why do I need to learn about that? I've never even heard about this before. It doesn't really sound like it's a very important thing. So that's a low sophisticated market using a high sophistication model funnel. But instead, if we did something like offered just a lead magnet, offered some kind of informational PDF that said, hey, did you know about gum disease? That when you chew too much gum, you actually get gum disease from the gum? And they'd be like, oh, hey, here's a little 4-page PDF about that so you can learn more. Then people would be, huh, that's curious. That sounds interesting. Okay, I want to learn more about that. And then from there, then you can say, then once you educate them about that a bit, then you can take them to a next step and a next step. But we can't just go right to, hey, get on this masterclass about gum disease when nobody knows what the hell gum disease is. Woo! So that is what we got to do there. That's the difference between, that's why you don't want to use just proven templates. Oh, sorry. Actually, there's one more thing. So the other thing is your sophistication. So you are not Tony Robbins. Let's put it a different way. The way, the type of funnel you should be creating, the type of, the way you should be speaking to your market, and the type of funnel that you should be creating is, one, it's dependent on the sophistication of the market. And then the other is about you and your, say, presence, your authority in the market, how known you are. So you can't look at someone like Tony Robbins and look at his copy and see how broad it is and see how appealing it is to the masses about anyone and everyone who wants to develop themselves better personally and have more personal power, and how generic his copy sounds. You can't do that too for your market as a coach or consultant competing in this market. You can't have that broadness, because Tony, everyone knows who he is, and all that trust is already there, and it's built up for him that he could say most anything and there's be people that would buy from him. But also he's looking for a different type of sophistication of a customer, of a prospect. He too, they're trying to get in as many people as possible into his workshops and seminars, because they are trying to generate lots of people, because they have a lot of power on the back end. They understand the power of, and the fact that most sales are going to happen after these events, after the workshops, after the webinars. So they have a massive, engine of content and an email follow-up system and newsletters, these things that are helping to bring them to the sale more and more and more after this big webinar event. Now, someone who doesn't have that star power, doesn't have that clout, and if we're trying to make sales now, we want to speak to those people that have real intent, that are closest to the buying decision. That's why we're speaking to solution-aware prospects. That's why we're speaking to people who actively are looking. And we're not just trying to get everyone, we're actually trying to polarize people. We're trying to polarize those people who just have interest, who aren't very serious tire kickers. And we are going to sacrifice some numbers so that we can make high-ticket sales. And that requires specific language, specific outcomes, visualization of your methodology, visualization of what they're going to get every step along the way when they're working with you, and being specific. So that's the other half of why you shouldn't be following templates, but really thinking about, one, market sophistication and your sophistication and clout to the market. Wow, great stuff, guys. I did a great job today, and I hope you learned a lot. That's it. See you soon.